Which one of you guys wants to go first?
Doesn't matter to me.
I'll save the best for last and go right now.
Okay.
Good answer, Greg.
People know that I love Colin Moriarty. And if you didn't, now you do. So I'm going to do it in the opposite order of how everybody else has done. I'm going to give you my honorable mentions and then go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ooh, so you actually have a ranked list.
Yeah, number one's no surprise. I talk about it all the time.
Got it.
You know it. All right. So in my honorable mentions, I'm going to give Patapon 3 an honorable mention. Amazing game. And it's funny, I went back before we went out and did this. I went and did the looked at my IGN top 10. And I had put Patapon 2 in there at the time and then claimed in the write-up that Patapon 3 is a better game, but Patapon 2 is like my favorite. Or I have better memories about it. Now removed, I'm Patapon 3 all the way.
Okay.
Just because it was the culmination of the series. It had online multiplayer. It had simplified everything. You knew how to level up your character. It was great. You just had to worry about one guy still do out the beats. Do you remember Patapon, Tim?
I never played Patapon.
But do you remember it?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
We
I
need
hear it
another one.
echoing in my brain.
We need another one bad. I'm letting you know. And I hate whenever I mention Patapon and somebody's like, and we need a Loca Roca. It's like, we can't get them both. We can't save them both, and Loca Roca was not as good as Patapon, so we need to let that one go, everybody. If we can just
let it die.
If we can agree on this, maybe one day the door will be open for Loca Roca. But not now. You never played Patapon, right?
No.
It was just so ingenious, controlling the tribe with the beats.
I think I might have.
And it's one of those, you know.
PSP? Yeah. I think I might have. Kevin, can I have the pen, by the way? I'm listening to you.
Yeah, I know you are. You know better than anybody that I have. He's going to throw it, point at your face. You know better than anybody, Colin, that I got no rhythm.
Oh, that's true.
So the fact that I was able to play Patapon and be really good at Patapon is another thing of how great this game is.
It made you feel good about yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Memorize all the change because you had to give commands via drum beats because you're this god or whatever. So you had to play a song to get them to march, then play a song to get them to attack. You have to anticipate what the boss is going to do. The best thing about it was another one of these games that was perfect for the PSP because it encouraged you to go back and grind. Replay the same bosses to get, the bone to go then take the bone and bury the bone and just bury the bone over and over again.
You gotta bury the bone.
Bury that bone.
As far as I understand, that's one of your mantras in life is burying the bone.
Bury the bone. That's right. But you do that, to get your level up and do this and get a rare material to do. There's so much. There was. It seems so cute and fun, and there was so much under the hood. And it was a great game. Kept you occupied all the time. So that's on my list as an honorable mention. I'm putting Mario Kart Double Dash on here. Fucking love
7.9.
Yeah. Fran Mirabella can get the fuck out of here with that 7.9.
I'll never forget that as long as I live. I'll never ever forget that as long as I live.
Well, it's just because it continues to be
That was such
a
a meltdown on the internet, the likes of which I don't think I might have ever seen before or again. And that was way before social media.
Oh, sure, yeah.
The
meltdown, that was the thing.
The level of forum and IRC meltdown because of that 7.9, I was like, holy shit.
Well,
and it's like embedded in my brain.
It was a bullshit move by one Fran Mirabella III. He can never be forgiven for it. As close as I am to Fran, I'll never be able to love him. It's because I know about the 7.9 and how great Mario Kart Double Dash was. You played it.
Oh, yeah.
God, that was so much fun.
Yeah.
Baby Park? You
No,
kidding
Baby
me?
fucking Park. For sure.
Now, I never did the thing. Did you ever do the thing where your friends would get squirrely on a Saturday night? You've been playing Mario Kart Double Dash all day long, all Friday night long, and they'd be like, well, do you want to try actually doing the co-op? How you play co-op, where one of you rides on the back and one of you actually drives.
Fuck that.
Was such
dumb.
bullshit.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, but yeah.
Now, if there's not another GameCube co-op game or multiplayer game on your list, I'm going to be really disappointed. I'm just telling you right now. You better know what it is, and I'm sure you know what it is. So I'm just going to leave it there.
Okay. Another honorable mention to Luminous. Luminous on my PSP. Loved that fucking game. I love it on everything. I love it on Vita too. I think the Vita version is obviously probably the better version. Actually used touch in a cool way.
Symphony.
That's the one. That's the one. Yeah, great game. Everybody should hit it up. Lots of fun. But here's something that's blasphemy. I know, but you know that I love Tetris.
Yes.
I'm playing Tetris right now on the Vita, the version that actually works now. Thank you very much. Ultimate Tetris, or what is it? Tetris Ultimate?
Tetris Ultimate, yeah.
Okay.
By Soma Play.
There you go.
Published by Ubisoft.
Yes. I was just wondering if Ultimate came before or after, but thank you for all the facts. But the problem with playing Tetris now is that I think Luminous is a better game. But a better puzzle, block clearing game.
Better than Tetris.
I do. I think it is. And I think it might be that it's more approachable. You know what I mean? Like the drop, it's just something about the fact that they fall in squares, and then you can hit one edge of the square and send the other two down. That I like so much. Trying to like maneuver that and keep that all straight in your head and clear out all these.
Did Columns play like that on Genesis too?
To an extent, yeah. It was a little bit different, but yeah. It is very, very similar. Yeah.
Okay.
Luminous, amazing. Everybody should hit it up. And then also my honorable mentions category, and maybe one day some of these start getting in there, pushing things around, and putting Gone Home in there. Gone Home is still an experience. Whatever you want to say. I know a lot of people on the internet like to hate on it, saying it's not.
Oh, whatever.
But I wanted that.
They're laughing all the way to the bank.
Yeah, Steve Gaynor. Yeah, he keeps getting crazy haircuts with all that money he made off Gone Home. Gone Home, one of those games that I felt. You know what I mean? You felt. I remember finishing that game as soon as the credits rolled, walking in, hugging Christine, just because it's like such a special experience. Especially now, it would probably be lessened, I think, because everybody talks about it, right? But at the time, it was like literally Marty had been like, I reviewed this game and it's really good. And then I remember McElroy, he had tweeted about it too, that if you haven't played it yet, like, don't read my review, but here's the link. Go play it first. I was like, all right. So one day I played it and was just blown away. And then
It's like the Paperboy of our time.
it is the Paperboy of our time.
I have two questions,
Sure.
comments. 2 questions/comments. Was the point in which you went and hugged Christine after playing Gone Home, was that the point in which you realized you might have been losing your grip on reality, that a video game made you go hug your girlfriend?
No, because it wasn't that I didn't think I was that character. I hugged her because it's.
I understand
We
that,
take it for
Greg.
granted how easy it is for us, Colin.
Oh, I see. That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, that was my thing.
Number 2,
It was such a bittersweet love story.
because I know it's not on your list. So, because I know you well enough to know it's not on your list.
Sure.
How dare you, sir, when you mentioned GameCube multiplayer games that we talked about so much, not put Mario Golf on there, and you bring up Double Dash?
Yeah. Now you bring up a good
But
point.
Toadstool Tour,
A fantastic game.
which
It's
was
no
maybe
Double Dash,
one of the
sir.
best GameCube games.
No Double Dash.
Hard Stop. Just wanted to throw that out there.
I appreciate.
How dare you.
I appreciate your fervor and attention to detail. Now that you've reminded me of that, I will put Mario Golf
on
World Tour
on
on the
3DS?
3DS
Oh,
in the
Jesus
honorable mention
Christ.
category. 82 hours into a fucking golf game on the goddamn DS.
My God.
Right?
You're crazy, man.
It's so good though. We had the tea times every day, and then they had the online working great.
I was so excited about it. I played it for an hour and I was like,
That's how you are though.
No.
You got to be caught off guard for games for you to like games. I think.
Yeah,
that's your thing.
that's true.
Anything you think you're gonna like, you don't like.
that's true. That's a good point.
You're gonna hate Mighty Number 9.
No, I'm not.
Apparently,
What, are you crazy?
I remember Skyrim you're gonna love. Witcher you were gonna love.
I love Witcher. I just think it's overrated. I think it's a great game
You've been talking about how you want to stop playing it. You just can't.
because I'm overwhelmed by it.
Okay.
Get your facts straight.
You didn't like Resistance 3? You didn't finish it?
No, I
trouble.
didn't finish Resistance 3.
Number 5 on my top 5 list. Infamous. Original. Straight up Colin McGrath story.
Good choice,
beginning
Greg.
of-
The first one.
Yeah. Here's the thing, of course. As we go further on, Infamous 2, Infamous Second Son, Infamous First Light, as you go up, the gameplay gets better. It gets smoother, it gets prettier, all of that.
sure.
I get that. I'm not arguing that. But Infamous 1, the story was so good. And the merging of the gameplay at the time to the story was perfect. It was, it made parkour fun. Climbing, you could get up anywhere except chain link fences. You could run around, have a great time. It made sense. It worked. You know what I mean? I love that Cole character. I love Trish. I love Zeke. I love these people they made. And for me, the interesting thing was, I think it's rare with new IPs that come intellectual properties, new games that come around that get announced, right? That you see a trailer. I remember seeing that trailer at E3 the first time. I remember being told what the game was and me being like, this is the most Greg game there could possibly be. You know what I mean? It's a PlayStation exclusive and it's a superhero / supervillain story, whatever you want to become, right? It has these comic book cutscenes and I'm like, this sounds like the fucking perfect game for me, which means it will be dog shit.
Yeah.
It means it will be garbage and it will fuck like Superman 64. It's going to quickly go off the rails and be an embarrassment. But then to get it and have it not be that at all. You know what I mean? To have it do so much stuff, right? It has its problems, of course, you know what I mean? But the traversal, the gameplay, Sucker Punch in traversal, Sucker Punch in that moment-to-moment gameplay and using the powers and how cool you look. Few do it as well as they do, I think. You know what I mean?
I agree.
And so then to have the comic book story laid on there, to have the choices where I wanted to go back and replay stuff and see how it all pans out, the system, it was so good. So fucking good. You know what I mean? And like granted, with Second Son, I wish they would have evolved a few of their systems. I thought it was so weird that in like Second Son, you show up and it's like, take a photo somewhere here, and there's a giant camera icon in the world floating there. It's like, couldn't we have done this in a way that didn't make it clear that I'm in a video game? Like, it looks so good.
That wasn't the big problem. The big problem with Second Son, though, was that A, my expectations for that game were way too high, and
Sure.
B, it didn't tie in at all to the original game.
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
I don't, and the original 2. I still think Infamous 2 is way better than Infamous, but
Gameplay-wise, I agree with you.
Infamous 2 is really, really fucking good.
Sure.
One of the best games of that year for sure. But Infamous Second Son was just disappointing. Like I remember I was like, and I agree with you. The gameplay is awesome, but I'm like, I don't really care about this character. I don't really like this character. And frankly, like this world doesn't seem that big. The story doesn't really. Why doesn't it tie in at all to the original story, other than like anecdotally?
Right.
It's
8
like
years
fuck,
later,
man.
5 years later, whatever.
And because I kept playing that game, and I want to, spoiler alert.
You've had your time to play Second Son, everybody. We're not doing
Spoiler
the head tap.
alert. The fact I waited until the very end for that game to tie with Cole, and I thought for sure Cole you were gonna fight Cole.
Sure.
You know? Like I was so when the credits rolled, I was like, fuck, I can't believe like he's not in this game. You know, and then First Light came out and he's still not in it. And I'm like, how? Why not? Like this world isn't interesting enough for me to care about this.
Sure.
You know? And that's a big problem with Infamous going forward, because I think we're not gonna see. Cole made that world interesting, and Cole's story made that world interesting. But I digress.
One of the things about it, right, is I think the Cole made it interesting in the way that
Begin spoiler.
Siri, spoilers. Cole made it interesting in the way that he was almost so blank slated and so everyman, right? Like with Delson, we immediately get to the fact of like I start to lose connection with him because he's clearly like skatery punk dude, and he does like spray paint, and it's like he's a character, and he's kind of a douchey character. He's like this douchey kid who doesn't want to accept his responsibilities. Whereas Cole's like, I'm a bike messenger. Oh shit, I got superpowers, and everybody's pissed. You know, I'm like, I wouldn't be a bike messenger, but I saw the movie Premium Rush, of course, starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Paperboy.
Paperboy, yeah. I didn't actually see Premium Rush. Number 4, Uncharted 3, Drake's Deception. The only 10 I gave on IGN ever. Stand by to this day. I still think we gotta talk about this. If Uncharted 2 and 3 had flipped places, it would be the same argument on why people hate on Uncharted 3. I still say I'll never forget. I was such a huge Uncharted 1 fan, right? Uncharted 2, we got Roper was reviewing it, so I just got to play it. And being at home and beating it over a weekend and he texted me like, "What did you think?" And I was just like, it's Uncharted and it's great. It's literally beat for beat Uncharted 1. You know what I mean? It was like, all right, here's the setup of these guys. This guy's going to betray you. This is going to happen. Here's the supernatural twist. Everything's all... And it's just like... I felt so like, is this all it can be? Is this what it's going to be? Is it all... And like, not that it's bad. Like, you know what I mean? It's like Indiana Jones. Like, all right, they all have the same kind of formula, right? Except for the obviously best one ever with Shia LaBeouf. Mm-hmm. But they all have the similar, formula of what's going to happen. And then to get to 3 and have it be like, we're telling this bromance. We're focusing on this relationship of Drake and Sully and not really getting bogged down in the stuff happening around them. We're going to play with his past, tell you these little things. And spoilers for the end of Uncharted 3.
No.
Really? Yeah. Are you going to play it?
Whoa, did you miss this?
No.
On Colin Moriarty Live, I was talking about when they announced the Uncharted collection.
Oh,
I've been waiting
finally?
for the collection. Yeah,
sorry.
I'm playing 2 and 3.
All
so
right.
don't do
Sorry.
that. I'm definitely this year playing those games.
All right. At the end of Uncharted 3, when it's revealed he has a twin brother who is dead.
Yeah.
That's all made up. The fact that they went a different way at the end and everything, it was fresh and it was new and it was cool and it was pretty and it was fun. You know what I mean? Like
some people really do have a stick up their ass about Uncharted 3, and it makes no sense to me.
I
like that game was extraordinarily good.
Here's what happened, and I've traced it back after having to fight for years on internets, right? On the internets. Sorry, computers who have become sentient are watching now. The problem comes back to the fact that, and I'm talking about strictly in the IGN ecosystem where I reviewed it and lived, right, is that Uncharted 2 didn't get a 10. If Uncharted 2 had gotten a 10 and I'd given Uncharted 3 a 10, there wouldn't have been so much outcry. But the fact that Uncharted 2 got a 9.5 because Roper reviewed it and I gave Uncharted 3 a 10, that's where there's like this huge thing that people feel like Uncharted 2 got screwed. That's the really big argument I see all the time. Because it's never like, Uncharted 3 is trash. It's always like, well, if Uncharted 3 is a 10, Uncharted 2 is a 15. And it's like, well, okay. Like, maybe I wouldn't have reviewed it that way or this way if I had done Uncharted 2.
That's one perspective. Some people really don't like Uncharted 3. And I like that. Like, I get, like, the game gunplay is a little weird in the game. And I get that. It's definitely weird to get used to. I don't know why.
But I feel
what
like
happened. I think they might have patched it too.
Yeah, they did. They did take it back and do something.
But, some people really like Uncharted 3 is not a good game, or Uncharted 3 is a bad game. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Right.
I remember playing that game for the first time, being like, this is extraordinary.
Right.
This is an extraordinary game. The set pieces and the boat, the boat, like the cruise ship,
airplane,
like
God. Everything.
I can't. The cruise ship,
fucking excited.
The cruise ship's like the single, and that's not really a spoiler because I think they showed that at E3.
Yeah.
Well, that was the one problem is they showed so much of E3 of Uncharted 3.
True. But like that moment, I was like, this is so awesome. Like they really. I don't envy them to have to follow up Uncharted 2.
To keep having to do this shit.
But also the big thing too is, and that's what we were saying, 2 and 3 being transfixed or whatever, or transposed rather, so that one comes before the other. Drake's fortune to Among Thieves is a massive jump in terms of graphical fidelity and the way the game runs and the technical fidelity. And then Uncharted 2 and Uncharted 3 are pretty much the same.
Yeah, that's a good point.
There's 3 looks better than 2, but it is not. It is a little bit better. It is not significantly better. And so I think that's another thing that people are hung up on is that they expected another jump like that, and I'm like, another jump like that isn't possible on PlayStation 3. I think you're going to see that with
4.
Drake's. Or what is it? A Thief's End.
Yeah.
We got to throw Drake's back in there because I'm a little confused now.
Drake's Thief's End.
There we go. That's better.
Drake's Coffee Cake.
Anyway, I digress, Greg.
So do you know nothing about any of the games?
I know nothing about
Man,
them.
I
I know
would-
there's a train sequence in 2.
Yeah, I envy you, man, to be able to go
I'm
back and
fucking
do that.
So
I know,
excited.
that's gonna be fun.
And again, like I utterly love Uncharted 1.
Yeah.
Like that game is definitely in my favorite games of all time.
Oh, you love that game.
For
My
sure.
God. I can't wait to see what you think of 2 and 3.
The thing about I'll never forget about 3 being totally overexposed, and I won't spoil anything for you, but I already mentioned a plane scene, right? Like they had shown that before, and something happens in it that I'd never thought about. In a Subway commercial the night before we got review copies, spoiled it. And I was like,
Oh, yeah,
are
he's,
you
like, holding the-
fucking kidding me? You know what I mean? Like that, I never even contemplated that. So to go back and play it and have no idea, like,
Yeah.
oh, Jesus
Oh,
Christ.
I'm excited.
Number 3, The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time. My first Zelda, so I think that's one of the reasons it's so special to me. You know, I grew up a Sega kid, and 64 was my first current in the moment Nintendo console. And I remember Mike O'Brien telling me over and over and over and over again to buy Ocarina of Time. And I'd go to his house and he was fighting Ganon, and I'd be like, what, or Ganondorf. And then him and Jay would argue about if it's Ganondorf or Ganondorf.
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 That's the voice he did. Oh, Ganondorf.
Ganondorf.
Yeah. And then I remember I went to a Blockbuster that was going out of business, and they had all their carts out, and they had the gold
Yeah.
Zelda, and I didn't buy it. And I told O'Brien that, and he's like, "You're such an idiot." And he finally gave me the strategy guide in the game. He's like, "Just go play it and try it." And sure enough, like I remember, I always tell the story that it was he gave it to me the Friday or before our ACTs on Saturday, and I stayed up to like 4 a.m. to wake up at 10 to go take the ACTs or whatever.
Yeah.
Did fine
Fucking
ACTs,
worth it.
everybody. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was totally worth it. Amazing game. And I remember feigning sick at high school to go home and beat it finally because it was just so good. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It was
man,
so
it's-
beautiful in that world. And
Good Lord.
the way it played. And the other story I always tell because it happened in high school right around all this college prep stuff. Being in honors English and getting the assignment right of like, all right, we're going to do like sample college essays today or whatever. And so they gave you a list of like 20 books. And they're like, choose one of them and go through and compare like the time elements in them, right? And as far as like what it was like in the one period to the next period or whatever. And I went through and I knew a couple of them, but not super well. So I did it about Ocarina of Time because it was like an assignment, whatever. If I tank it or whatever, and the teacher gave me like a B+ on it. It was like, but read some books. You know what I mean? Like, if this happens in a real college environment, fucking talk about a book, not about the goddamn N64 game.
Yeah.
But that game was so special,
Yeah,
man.
man, it
when you
really
come out,
was.
when you're running around and everything's so perfect in the past, when you're little Link and everything's so bright and cheerful and you're having a great time in Hyrule, and then when you come out of the Temple of Time, right, as like grown ass Link, and there's fucking monster zombies everywhere, and it's all disgusting and gross. It's like, I'll never forget that. What happened here? How can I fix it? Like that ownership I felt over Hyrule,
Yeah. Good Lord.
and then running through just the fields, or more adept rolling through the fields before he got Epona. Because it was a little bit faster, or so
That's
you told
awesome.
yourself. Number
I think
2,
it is.
Super Mario World on SNES. That was probably my first that was like my first Mario console game. I
man.
had a Game Boy, so I had the
Mario Land.
Yeah, exactly. And I had a lot of fun with that. But like being a Sega kid, I played it at people's houses. Super Mario Brothers, awesome, great. I was talking about, I think Super Mario 3 is the one with the yellow background and Tanuki Tail Mario or whatever. You know what I mean? Like I have those moments, but not like an ownership moment. But like Super Mario World, for a summer, I spent. Me and Matt Noel became best friends for a summer, and I'd go to his house and I would just play over and over and over in his basement, and I beat it, did all this different stuff, and then finally went home and was like, well, fuck it. And I went out and bought an SNES that was all like weathered and gross and Super Mario World, and sat there with Pinkerton on endless repeat with Mario muted, just playing Mario over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Because it was that game blew my mind.
That game is so good, man. I think Mario World is on another level compared to like even Mario 3 just because the physics feel so right. Like I feel like Mario World nailed the way Mario should move how I want him to, at least.
Yeah.
Like it just all feels right, and having the spin jump and like even the cape and all this shit, like being able to nail the
Yep,
like
yep.
the thing. And it's like a lot of people say it's cheap, and a lot of people do prefer 3, and it's like again, 3 is an amazing game, and it's hard for me to choose one over the other. But yeah, World, it comes down to how big that world is, how many secrets there are, how easy it is to actually understand how to find the secrets. Like the secrets aren't bullshit. Like you can find them. There are clues. There are it guides you that way, and it's like, oh, it's so good. So good.
Yeah. And then my favorite game of all time, Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. PSP, another great PSP game. After Metal Gear 4, I think there was such a bad taste in some people's mouths, and then just me having to defend why I like 4 or anything involving Metal Gear after that, because all it was talk of fucking nonsensical cutscenes and this, that, and the other, and there wasn't enough gameplay and da 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 da. To have Kojima be like, we're making another Metal Gear. It's gonna be on PS. It's again like they're designing a game for me. It's gonna be the Sony exclusive on the PSP, which is like the channel I started in charge of, like, you know what I mean, at IGN or whatever. To sit down and play that and have it not miss a step, to add so much depth to what a Metal Gear game could be, how different it could be, what the new thing will be, the replayability of it. You know, the fact that I played 90 some hours of that game. You know what I mean? It was the save I protected with my life. I remember on a plane ride where I was switching memory pro stick duos and I dropped it and I panicked and I eventually had to ask everyone in the row on this airplane to get up. I'm like, I have to lay down on the floor of the plane right now. You know what I mean? I can't risk us landing or whatever and coming in and the card moving around. I found it and I was like, geez, you know what I mean? And I started backing the card up like every other day or whatever to make sure it was protected at all times. But it was just like the cutscenes that were done in the comic art that looked awesome. You know what I mean? The voiceover, the acting, the story. I always go back to how this is a story anyone could get in on. You know what I mean? And like this is, you know, you don't have to know Les Enfants Terribles and all about the Lalelulalo and all. You know what I mean? It's just like your mentor that you killed is back. Maybe this guy has a tape recording of it. Go investigate. And that was it. And you did it. And then you start recruiting people and building your own Metal Gear. And like that moment when it dawns on me that like, holy shit, I'm building Outer Heaven. I'm not playing the prequel, I'm building the prequel. And this, of course, before I knew 5 or you knew about 5 or anything like that or Ground Zeroes. But it's like in that moment when you're like, I'm making the history and I know how this plays out, but I'm not tied to it in the way of like, it's got to be this story that's beating me over the head. It was just so fucking good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Love it. That's why I'm so excited for 5.
Woo.